Hi guys and welcome, and this video is going to be a bit of an unbox and review. And here I have, conveniently, a box, and inside this box are contents I am going to unbox, naturally. Now I'll just pop this open, and without any silly fanfare or other nonsense, let's take a look at what we have. Okay, we have got a G10 or NATO style strap with a nice logo on it. We'll have a look at that in a moment. We've got another box inside the box, a box in a box, and we have got a beautiful wooden box. Look at that, isn't that nice? This is, of course, the Oceanica Tambor, which is a Blancpain 50 Fathoms Homage. And it's a Kickstarter watch that I backed. Got a really nice wooden box. I mean, it's not super duper fancy, but it's very pretty. Slide open top. And let's scoot in close and see what we have. Up close and in glorious Technicolor, we have got a little guarantee card with a nice logo on it, and inside the watch itself, which could have been a little bit better padded and protected in there, I'll be honest about that, but still in good order. We have got this lovely little watch on a Hessian cushion and a rubber strap, and I'm personally quite glad about the additional strap, which was a Kickstarter stretch goal, according to raising adequate funding for the campaign, because I'm not a fan of rubber straps. They're okay, but I'm just not a fan of rubber straps. They you know, your wrist gets hot and with them. Gets a bit sweaty, and it's just not generally very nice. So that's the box. It's all very plain and simple. There's no bells and whistles, but that's okay because we don't need anything fancy. So let's focus down here, and as you can see, I've got a very nice, easy to grip ratcheting bezel, 120 click bezel, and the watch itself uses a Seiko NH35A movement. It is a sapphire crystal, I believe, yep, sapphire crystal, and a ceramic type bezel insert, and as mentioned previously, you can see it's a very distinctive Blancpain 50 Fathoms homage, and nicely engraved case back, and the reference, the Tambor reference, is to do with a US naval submarine, I believe. I don't know the specifics of that. We've got a screw down crown and 300 meters of water resistance apparently. So let's unscrew this, and obviously two positions, so you've got your date quick set, as you can see there, and position 2, of course, for time setting. This is a hand winding and hacking movement, so we're going to give this a wind, which should get that seconds hand sweeping away. That should be about fully wound. Got a nice crown, rounded at the top there, and nicely grippy edges. The overall quality of the case is nice, brushed stainless finish, and as is the case back. Very thick, but not too thick, and very solid. The bezel, as mentioned, is ridged on just on the very edge, but it's really nicely grippy. You can get a good hold on that. We've got a black dial with luminous hands and numbers in green, and then the bezel, I believe, glows in a blue, although it's a white in appearance in daylight. As mentioned, we've got the rubber strap, which is a very nice silicone strap. It's got a bit of give to it. As I say, if you like silicone straps, it's very nice indeed. I'm not a fan of silicone straps, so I will be swapping this out for the G10. And that's about the size of it. I mean, there's not a great deal else to say about this. I am of course going to pop it on the Timegrapher and see what kind of readings we get. It should be should be quite respectable. I don't know if these were regulated, and I'll also pop it on my vacuum tester for waterproof purposes and see how that registers on there. Here's a bit more of an up close and personal look. And you can see there's a little mark on the side of the case there, which I suspect is from where it was in the box. Unfortunately, I think it could have done with a little bit of packaging either inside the walls of the box or the watch itself wrapped while it was on the cushion. It could have done with being wrapped at least the main the watch rather than the strap. Could have done with a wrapping to protect that. So I suspect that's a little scuff from being inside the box, but that will rub out easily enough, so I'm not unduly concerned about that. But you can see we've got a really lovely brushed satin finish on the crown and on the watch case itself. Over on the back of the watch there we have got, let's pop off the protective sticker so we can see things. If I can get a fingernail under it, there we go. We've got a very nice logo with a submarine propeller or screw, I think they call them. I'm not really up on naval terms, but the propeller bit that moves it through the water. And as I say, the Tambor, it relates to a US Navy submarine. And then the most important side, of course, being the dial side with its quite nice shark logo and Oceanica and Tambor 300 meters. Is it 300? Yeah, 300 meters logo at the bottom. Very simple hands, and likewise with the seconds hand, but very nice and very visible. And nicely reflective crystal and ceramic bezel there, and there you can see the edging of the bezel. While it doesn't look much, it's very, very grippy. It's be able to grip that very easily, and while there doesn't look to be much on the sides there, you really don't need that. So it's very nice overall. I'll get some measurements in a second. There is the silicone strap, which, as I said, very nice. So it's very much a silicone rubber divers type strap, and then we can have a proper look at it. So as you can see there, we have a logo which, let's try and get that focused for you guys, just bear with. As you can see there, we've got a logo on the buckle and nice sturdy keepers, and yeah, it's a decent quality strap. It's not the best G10 or NATO that I've ever seen, but it's far from the worst. It's a very good quality strap, nice strong stitching and a good thick buckle. So that's a nice little bonus, little extra freebie as it were. As mentioned, the box itself has the Oceanica branding on it, and it's a very, very nice wooden box. It's a little bit different to your typical sort of vinyl padded box that you would normally see with most watches these days. But I would have liked to have seen a little bit of padding inside the box or around the watch. But so far that's the only little grumble that I have. So what I'm going to do now is I'll pop these spring bars back in so that I can put the G10 on. Just a quick preview before I do the Timegrapher. There's the watch on the G10. Oops, and there's the sticky back protector, and I think that suits it really well. I think it looks very nice. I do actually have somewhere a grey and black striped one which came with my helm, and I might in fact swap it for that one. I think that would look really nice on it, but I think that looks nice. I think that suits it, and it suits it, in my opinion, that suits it better than the rubber strap that it was on. I like that. Let's have a quick wrist check. So we'll take off the tourbillon which I'm wearing at the moment, and we'll pop this fellow on, and there we go. I think that is a really nice watch. It's a nice size. It's thick but not overly thick. It's not too bulky. Of course, the only thing that you get with, when you've got skinny wrists like I have, the only thing you get with these type of straps is it does make the watch sit proud and look like it wears quite wide there, but I don't mind that so much. I quite like it. And there you are, very plain, very simple. You've got the date at 4:30, and then the typical 3-hand with a sweep second. So very nice looking thing overall. Very nice looking watch. And then we'll just tweak the settings. And the lift angle for the NH35 is 53. And let's start that up and see what happens. So on a full wind, and this is obviously the first wind out of the box, we've got an amplitude of 263, 264, which is pretty good. That's, you know, that's par for the course for a Seiko. They do tend to beat at a lower amplitude than your typical Swiss movement. So the high 260s I'm quite pleased with. We're minus 12 seconds per day. The beat error is not great at 1.2, but all this tells me is that the watch hasn't had any further regulation from purchase and assembly. So that's not a problem in and of itself. That's easily correctable. That was dial up, so moving to dial down, and we've got, as expected, a very similar reading with a very slight increase, and we're at -5, -6 seconds. And then pendant down, if let's turn the thing the right way, pendant down, and we have a slight increase, so we're at +4, and pendant right, which is the position it would be in if you were wearing it and you had your arm resting on a desk, for example, with the watch facing away from you. So dial up, dial down, and pendant right are the four most common positions. And we've got a bit of a loss in amplitude as is to be expected in the vertical positions, and a slight increase in the beat error, around about the same rate. So this could certainly be tightened up. Pendant up, we have got a very kind of similar rate, and you can see that just coming in at the top of the screen there. And then finally pendant left. Pendant up is an important one for right wrist wearers, of course. Pendant left, which is the least common position, and but again reporting pretty much consistent results. So it's fairly consistent across the board. This could be tightened up without a shadow of a doubt. However, it is a new movement and everything will still need to run and bed in. So I will be allowing this to run and everything to bed in for about a week, and then I will re-inspect the readings and take a look at that. If I feel it necessary, I'll pop the back off and tighten up the regulation on that, and certainly the beat error. With an adjustable stud, I like to see under 0.3, 0.2 milliseconds beat error. There's not really any reason why that can't be done. And I like to try and get it as close as possible to 0 in the dial up, dial down positions. And on a movement like this, there is no reason that that can't be done. But obviously these are factory spec and bought and just fitted as is without any further regulation or adjustment, which is fine. It's pretty much what you would get if you bought a Seiko itself from the Seiko 5 range, and much along that area. So it's quite acceptable as is. It does need to run and bed in a little bit. Nothing too surprising there with the Timegrapher results. So what I'm going to do next is pop it on the vacuum leak tester to test the waterproof side of things. We'll switch that on. And as you can see, it very quickly generates a vacuum. And we've got the needle slowly moving up into the positive, which hopefully you can just make out there. And what you do is you run the vacuum, and where possible until it reaches the +10. It's actually not moving much beyond where it's at just now. And some watches that are very solid are like this. My Helm Komodo is one of them, so that's a good sign. So what you then do, that's as much as it's going, I think, about 3 or 4. So what you then do is we switch off the tester and we'll leave that for a few minutes and keeping an eye on that needle. If that drops at all, it means there's a very slight leak. If it goes into the negative to start with, it means there's a big leak and it's just sucking the air out of the watch case straight away. If it stays on 0, then the odds are there could be a slight leak there and usually a little bit of jiggling about, but it should increase even if it's only a small amount. Some cases will rapidly move up to the 10 micron mark. These are 1/100ths of a millimeter, just to give you an idea, so we're talking very, very small amounts. And you don't go any further than +10 because that leaves you at risk of crystals popping out and case backs popping off. We'll leave that for a few minutes and then I'll come back and check that. If it hasn't moved, that means it's completely watertight. Several minutes later, here we are with just a bit more of a close-up of the dial. You can see, well, I don't know how visible it was on the previous one, but that's not actually moved, which is a good sign. That means we have got good water tightness, and this is the small subdial. As I say, this needs to be up off the 0 to make sure that the dial gauge plunger is in contact with the watch. And as you can see there, that's the little platform with its adjusting screw, so you can raise and lower a watch, so various thicknesses can be accommodated, and then the sapphire crystal there with the plunger attached to it. So that's looking very, very good and nice and watertight. What we do now is press the red vacuum release button, and that allows air back into the case, allowing us to lift it. So there we have it, the Oceanica Tambor Blancpain 50 Fathoms Homage style dive watch, and we can see that it's keeping time reasonably, and we can see that it is indeed waterproof. So that's a good start. And the next thing to do is to pop the strap back on and wear this and then see how it performs. I will post an update in a week or so with a few more checks. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and we'll see you in the next one.